Hello everyone, welcome back to Optimize FPL. We're going to be taking a look at Game Week 13, seeing how it went, seeing that it went pretty decent for us, I guess. We got a little bit of a green arrow, which is always nice to see. We're also going to be taking a look at next game week, talk about some injuries that came up. Erling Haaland, Bowen, I believe Solanke also, just a couple names to keep an eye out for injuries. And looking a little bit into the future right before the Game Week 16 or 17 wildcard / World Cup, and trying to figure out what we're going to do until then. Let's get into it. Okay, so this here is on live FPL. This is what I usually use when I look during the week just to see how I'm doing. Like I said, a very small green arrow to 1.25 million, so not too bad. If we compare it to some other people that I like to watch, like Andy from Let's Talk FPL, he's about 1 million. So we're not doing too much worse than he is. So take the rating with a grain of salt. It only matters at the end of the season, right? A couple of our stars didn't really work out too well. Dyer and Bowen, very disappointing, especially from Bowen in particular. They're playing Bournemouth at home, and he doesn't get any goals or assists. Now he's apparently got an injury, is what I've heard. He's probably going to have to go, unfortunately. They do play Manchester United this week, so it's not like it's the worst thing to do. But it was nice to have him as a differential. I thought he was a very good differential, but, it is what it is. Other talking points in the team that make it interesting: Mitrovic and Kane both scoring, which is nice. Only 30% owned around me. The top 10K, 50% owned, so getting a little bit closer to each of them there. Getting a little bit. That's where a lot of the rank boost probably came in. Other than that, everyone basically blanked. Ward did well, though. I know he's technically a differential just because he's under 20%, I assume. But yeah, it was nice to see that Leicester keeping a clean sheet. Chelsea was not something I really wanted to go with. And Erling Haaland, of course, scoring. I believe it was 2 goals. The man is just an absolute machine. Every time he plays, it's actually disgusting. But now that we see that he potentially has a foot injury, we've been hearing from Pep that he could potentially start. The only thing we've heard so far from Pep is that it's very much a game time decision. He said that he would only know about 2 hours before the deadline, or sorry, not before the deadline, before kickoff. So only an hour before the deadline for us. So realistically, we're not going to know if he's starting or not. So be wary of your captaincies. If you're going to captain him, I say make sure you have a good vice captain. Don't be messing around and putting your vice captain on someone like Eric Dyer or I don't know, somebody crazy like your goalkeeper, just because you're a bit of a jokester. Make sure you have a good vice captain, because if Haaland doesn't start, I really doubt that he comes off the bench. So whoever your vice captain is probably going to be your captain this week. Okay, so I just thought I'd pull up the screen. This is what my team's looking like for next week. Ariza Balaga net. Obviously, we're not going to be playing Ward against Man City. Even though he has been doing quite well lately, I don't think that they're going to be keeping a clean sheet against Man City, even without Haaland. So he's definitely on the bench. No questions asked. There's definitely a benching headache for me between Dyer and Gahey and Trippier. The three of them, realistically, any one of them can start. Trippier, I think, is definitely the one that's most likely to start because he's at home, and Aston Villa just haven't looked very good. I know they did end up scoring, I think it was like 4 goals against Wolves, something crazy like that, but it's not something that's going to happen every day. Sorry, my apologies. That was Leicester that ended up scoring those 4 goals, but they did. Aston Villa did score 4 goals, but it was against Brentford, not Wolves. So, anyways, doesn't really matter. Looking at the rest of the team, we got triple Man City against Leicester. I think that could be a really good game. I don't know necessarily you're going to keep a clean sheet, so Cancelo might not be the best player this week, but I do think that he could probably still go up the field, get some returns. It is a little bit concerning that he came off at halftime in the Champions League, so that's good for us in theory, but it was because he's not feeling well, so that could potentially be bad for us. So we'll have to wait and see what comes up with him. As you can see, the transfer has already been made in this team. Bowen out, Saka in. I've already done it. I know I probably should have waited until the deadline. It's only about, for my time, it's only about like another 10 hours before the deadline anyways. I just thought I'd get it over with. That way I don't have to get up at like 3 a.m. or whatever silly time it is for the deadline here over in the western part of Canada. But yeah, that's what the team's looking like. My vice captain is definitely on Kane. I almost wanted to put the captain straight on him because I don't think Haaland is going to start. But if he does start and he does play, he's probably going to score. Even if he only plays one half, he's probably going to score because that's just the way he rolls. So I'm just going to leave him as the vice captain, even though I really want to captain him because I think that's the better play this week. Let's move on to my transfer plans for the rest of the rest of the season until the World Cup. Okay, so like we said before, this is the team here. I mean, nothing's going to change, obviously. So now that we go to week 15, the transfer that I'm going to be probably making is Mitrovic out, and I'm going to take a punt on Skamaka He hasn't been very good. Don't get me wrong. I think he's only scored maybe 1 or 2 goals for West Ham. But West Ham fixtures look really good. They have Crystal Palace in this game week, and then I believe they also have Leicester in the game week after. Yep, that's confirming it there. So Crystal Palace and Leicester, out of all of the strikers that are in that range of like 8 million to like 6.5 million, anywhere in that range, that's basically all I can afford. There's nobody that really has good game weeks back to back for the last 2 weeks of the season. I mean, Mitrovic definitely doesn't. He has Man City and Man United, which obviously Man United can be got at, but doesn't mean that they're going to be easy to get at. You know, they're still a top team in theory, so they're not somebody that you want to target. You look at Brentford; they have Chelsea at one point. You look at Newcastle, I believe they have Man City at one point or somebody like that. I can't remember who it is exactly, but they have a hard fixture somewhere in the next 2 weeks. I can pull it up right here with Trippier, actually. Let me just see quickly. It's Chelsea as well. So, yeah, so both of those teams have Chelsea. And again, it's not like Chelsea are infallible. They can still be got at, but they're still a hard fixture to beat. You know, it's unlikely they're going to score goals against Chelsea, Man City, even Arsenal now are a hard team to play against. And you also don't want to be playing against teams like Liverpool, Man United, Tottenham, because they still are top teams, even if they haven't been playing like it all season. So for strikers, I'm trying to avoid those teams as much as possible. So Scamacca is in for this game week. That's the reasoning for my decision here. Obviously, you're going to bench Dyer. That's what the team looks like overall. And then for game week 16, I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing, to be honest. I have 1.2 million in the bank in game week 16. If anybody has any recommendations, please let me know. I know I'm supposed to be the one trying to give recommendations out, but when I look at everybody, my team looks decent. I don't really see any necessarily weaknesses. Maybe Scamacca, I guess, at Leicester at home, but I mean, at that point, I might as well just get Tony or somebody else in and just aim for like the good fixture in the week 15. I could potentially use it on my goalkeeper. I know that seems like a bit of a waste as well, but I have 1.2 million in the bank. I guess I could go get someone like Lloris or Alisson or Ederson. Actually, I can't get Ederson because I have 3 Man City players, but you get the idea. I could go use it on somebody. And I definitely don't want to take Trippier out. I've got so much money invested in him, and he's just such a good player that I don't want to lose that. But yeah, that's basically the teams are looking like for the next couple game weeks. Like I said, if you have any suggestions for game week 16, please let me know. I'd love to hear them. Anyways, guys, thanks so much for taking your time watching the video. I know that's it's a bit of a tight turnover between upload and the game week actually starting, but I hope this helped even a little bit. Please feel free to like and subscribe. Leave any comments. Like I said, game week 16, I'd love your input. See what anybody else, any thoughts anybody has, and just like that, yeah, let's get into it. Let's hope that the game week goes well for everybody. Talk soon. Cheers.